Everyone talks about retirement like it's a door you walk through, like there's this moment that you hit this number, you hand in your notice, and you cross the threshold. On the other side, it's freedom. Now, I've been trying to picture that door for a while now, and I can't. Not because it doesn't exist, but because whenever I try, I don't really know if that door's for me. Now, that might sound strange because you spend your whole working life being told that retirement is the goal, it's the reward, the thing you earn by showing up decade after decade. And at some point, I can't tell you exactly when, because it wasn't really a single moment, but retirement started feeling less like a destination for me and more like a concept, something I understood in theory, but I couldn't quite locate in my own future. Not because I don't want it, I really do, but every time I try to make it concrete, every time I ask myself, okay, Dave, what does this actually look like for you? What could you imagine this to be? I get a kind of blankness back. Part of it is money. And I think it's one of those things that people in my position, people who are close but not quite there yet, don't really say to ourselves often enough, or admit to ourselves, should I say, often enough. I don't actually know what that number is. I really don't. Not because I haven't looked or tried to work it out. I've done that plenty of times. But every model you run, or every calculator you use, every spreadsheet version you come up with, or every forum thread that you fall across late at night when you're scrolling for answers, they all kind of disagree with each other. They all come up with different answers. And generally, they'll ask you to predict things that are unpredictable at best. Like, how long are you likely to live? You know, what's inflation going to work out like? What year on year inflation are you going to work this number out on? What's the market going to do in the next 5, 10, 15 years? Whether you'll get sick in the next few years. Things that you just can't answer. So you're not really looking for a number. You're looking for certainty. And the number is just the shape that you expect that certainty to arrive. Now, my mum was 82 when she had a stroke. And she was healthy. She was present. She was one of those people you assume will just keep going because she always had. And then in one night, she was gone. She didn't pass away immediately, but she had gone from that point. And there followed 18 months of watching someone disappear from inside themselves, unable to speak, unable to really know who we were or who she was. And then she was gone properly. Now, I'm not going to pretend that that didn't change something in how I see all of this, because it absolutely did. It kind of made the clock visible in a way that it hadn't been before. Not in a palpitationally panicky type of way, but more subtly than that. Like time is actually passing and you're actually in it. And there's only so much time. And what I've also been thinking about is the promise of retirement. You know, the actual promise of what retirement will be, not the financial planning version of it, but the one day you get your time back promise. that the hours of your life stop belonging to your employer and they start belonging to you. And that sounds simple. And it does sound like freedom. And for a lot of people, it probably is. But I've started to wonder if the reason that I can't picture it, the reason it feels like the door is not meant for me or I'm not allowed through it, is because I've spent so long not being sure what I'd actually do with the time if I had it. What I'd actually want. Not what I think I should do after 35 years career, but what I genuinely want. Because there's a version of this where the financial uncertainty is real. And I'm not dismissing that because it's real for me. But there's also a version where the uncertainty is doing something else, where it's a container to a question that, or for a question, shall I say, that you haven't quite answered yet. If I hit the number tomorrow, whatever that number turns out to be, what changes? And if I can't answer that clearly, is the number really the thing that's stopping me? Now, I'm not saying that the money doesn't matter, because it absolutely matters. We all know that. But I've started to suspect that some of what I call financial anxiety is actually something older than that. Not sure if that's the right word, but it's all I can think of. Something more about permission, something about whether I'm allowed to stop, whether stopping means I've actually failed or I've given up or run out of road. Because my generation, and like yours as well, people in their 50s or 60s who grew up watching their parents graft, I mean really graft through the 80s and 90s, we were taught very clearly that work is how you earn your place, that busyness is the evidence of your value, and that if you're not producing, you need to be able to justify why. And then retirement asks you to stop producing. Not because you failed, but because you're done, because you've made it. But if stopping always felt like failing, then no number gets you through that door. Because the door was never really about money. And I don't have my tidy answer to this, because I'm still in this, still in it. And the blankness is still there when I try to picture the other side of retirement. But I think, at least for me, naming it matters, because I've spoken to enough people in their 50s and early 60s now that are doing everything right, saving what they should, planning what they should, and yet they feel the same low-level dread about retirement that I do. And I don't think it's because the numbers aren't good enough. I think it's because nobody actually tells you that the money is only half the question. The other half is who you are when work is no longer the answer. And I'll keep working on that one. If you're in the same place, I'd genuinely like to know. Please drop it in the comments.